Welcome everybody back. You know, when we get to come in here and meet as a group, football is close. I think everybody's excited, everyone's ready. I know our football team is. We've had a great first week of camp. Our guys are ultra competitive. They really enjoy the game of football. They like to practice. And a lot of times groups aren't like that. I'm not saying it's anywhere close to perfect or where we want to be with our discipline and our, just the specific details of each position. But we enjoy the work. We enjoy the grind, and that is something that you can build upon for sure. One of the things I think you'll see when you watch us practice is the competition amongst the position groups. There's a lot of really good position battles going on right now, but it's competitive, not combative. That's one thing we tell our guys all the time is that, yes, we want to be competitive and be your best self, but we can't lose time with, you see guys fighting in camps all the time. That's not what we're about. We've got to make sure we stay away from those types of things and keep the focus where it needs to be. And again, I think we're in a really good place going into our last practice of week 1, and then we look forward to moving forward. Now, as you can hear in the background, that's a good sign. All right? You want to be somewhere where you hear construction, you hear banging and clanking, and anyone out there that's watching this press conference and wants to come be a Missouri State Bear, growth is here. We're moving in the right direction. We have great administration behind us, so thanks for letting me throw that pitch in there.
That is an FBS level segue, Coach. Well done.
Just after getting these first few going, I'm sure you have so far you want to go before you play a game this month, but just what stuck out to you the most when trying to get through these first few days?
I think our pace of play has been at a very high level. We're really doing a good job getting in and out of drills, being efficient with our time. Offense is doing a really nice job getting in and out of the huddle. When we have a returning, in my opinion, All-American quarterback, that usually helps the process along. Defense is coming together. Again, you're going to talk to some young men here in a little bit that represent who we are as a defense and the cohesiveness that you have to have. We do have some new faces, but I think our foundation and core of our defense has done a nice job raising the level of play. And again, they enjoy going out and working on a daily basis, and I think that's the most impressive thing I've seen so far.
Coach, you mentioned competition. I know it's one of your favorite parts of this time of the year and with this team. What's maybe been a position group that has had the best competition or has maybe the most depth you feel right now at this point in camp?
Yeah, we could go through multiple. I'll do one of each. We'll start at defense at the linebacker position. You've got some really, really good players that have already been here with your Kanye Young, guys like Jayshon Cooper, Bird, all those type of guys that have kind of built the foundation of who we are. And then you've got the additions of Jalen Brooks. We've got some really young, talented players that are in here. And that's one thing I'll hit on later is I'm really excited about our freshman recruiting class. Hats off to the coaches and the recruiting staff for making that happen because there are some really, really talented prospects in that group as well as good talented transfers. So I think the linebacker group is one to definitely watch. Martavius Blackman's done a good job. And again, you sit there and you look at it and you go, who's going to step up? Because as you go and you look at, I know this is something you guys don't think about as much, but the coach-to-player comm system. Who is going to be the guy from that room that can handle hearing my voice as well as being able to process what he sees and do it verbally? That's one thing you have to look at. Can you communicate with your teammates as well as hear it in your headset? So that'll be an exciting challenge for that group. Looking forward to that moving forward. And then I know I said one group. I'm really going to highlight two groups on offense. The tight end room, I think, is as deep as we've ever been. Gary Clinton looks like he's been just tremendous. He moves well. He's working his hands really in the right positions, and he's strong at the point of attack. And then behind him, young man Jaron Asker, really talented player, doing a nice job. Rex Rowe has been phenomenal. Again, I can't wait for you guys to see these guys in action because hats off to our strength staff. They've done a phenomenal job in the offseason of really putting mass in the cut up. They look good. And then Dylan Hipp from Mississippi State's done a good job. And continuing down the line, I know I'm not going to bore you, but Jackson Cole, he looks like a grown man. He moves, he can get in and out of breaks, and he's also willing to put his face on people at the point of attack. So I think those are two groups that you'll be really excited about just to kind of see how it plays out through camp.
What about getting Hayden Hackler back with that group for this year?
Huge. That was one guy that I needed to mention as well. Hayden's a guy that he is going to do everything he possibly can to be on that football field. He's tough as nails. He's the ultimate teammate. anything he can do to help us get better, he's going to do. And that's whatever you ask, whether that's stand over and cheer when he was injured and sick. You know, now that he's back, he's just a shot of life, because he's one of those young men, like a lot of our players, that have been on the other side to where you're either not capable of playing or not getting the playing time that you want. And the perseverance he showed and the loyalty to our program and the loyalty to his teammates is something to be commended.
What have you seen out of Rexborough? We only have seen him really out of the high school level.
Yeah, he's an exciting player. I think that what you'll like from him is his ability to move in the open field. He's a guy that you can create mismatches with. He's got really good touch with the football. He's a natural pass catcher. And I think the one thing that we do a nice job of with our offense is we don't just go 10 personnel, 0-0 personnel, and spread the ball out. We want to be NFL style. We want to be balanced. So the nice thing about our tight ends is they're required to do it all. They're required to block. We can create matchups. And I think that fits his skill set really well.
How the running game, Coach? You got to replace two great backs in your backfield. So how's the running game looking?
Shamari had a great run yesterday. I mean, he's really coming to life. He was a little unsure when he first got here of kind of how we operate our systems, because we ask our offensive players, it's an NFL scheme. You have to learn. You have to be able to, when Jacob gives you the protection, you have to understand what that is and to be able to operate. And he has certainly settled in and done a really nice job. King Davis, really nice young talent, has great vision, can really get down the field vertically. Joyner's done a nice job for us. Again, he's a guy that kind of has to settle a little bit. He's got to understand exactly what his role is and how to make sure what you're doing fits the entire offense, not just your running back position. Ramon is Mr. Steady. I mean, he is as good as it gets in regards to doing exactly what you're coaching. He's one of the most coachable young men I've had the fortune of coaching. Really, really good player there. And then I don't even know where to put Connor Lair when we talk about it, but he's physically imposing. He loves football. He practices harder than anybody else on a regular basis. So whatever you want to pencil him in at on your questions, we can keep him at running back. If we do give him the ball, we give him the ball out of the backfield. He's another guy you have to highlight.
Coach, watched the conference media day. Just about every coach talked about the line play, offensive and defense, and how important that is in this league. What are your thoughts on the Bears?
Yeah, I agree with their assessment of that. Anywhere from Pop Warner football to the NFL, you need to make sure you have good fronts. The one thing I will say about our fronts is that it's the most veteran group of offensive and defensive linemen we've ever had. Our offensive linemen have been starting together since they were sophomores, getting bigger, stronger, better in the weight room. If you can be a cohesive group in that room, you've got a much better chance of having success. Not to mention, again, being able to retain Jacob. You're hearing a similar voice. Not many people around the country you can say you have pretty much a starting O-line that's played with the same quarterback going on 2 or 3 years. That's one thing I'm most excited about. And then defensive line-wise, I think, again, I'll go back to our strength staff. I think they did a really nice job in the offseason of getting bigger, getting stronger. And then we've added some really nice pieces. The DJ Westlex of the world as an edge rusher. And just, I think they've done a really good job taking on the challenge.
Is the depth okay for both?
Yeah, I like the depth. I think we're in a good place. I think there's a lot of, we can go back to the O-line, the addition of Matthew Green. I think he's going to be a really nice player. Noah Gardner, I know he's young, but he's doing a good job. Justin Curtis is a nice rotational piece. Really, really like that group there. And then defensive line as well. The nice thing is it's hard to fall in love with your team when you haven't seen them go live and have full pads. I really like the team coming out of the summer, but my mentor's voice is in the back of my head going, don't fall in love with them in shorts and a t-shirt. We've got to see who can do it when the lights are the brightest. So I can't tell you how excited I am to get going with some live periods. We have to wait a few more days for that, but I love our progress so far.
It's the right side of the line. You're kind of having the replace there with Hudson getting injured.
Yeah.
You had Grant Goodson electing to graduate. Just how is the competition there when it seems like Christian, Mark, Cash just kind of having some continuity there, and Eric coming back, Eric being back, Christian both at tackles. Just what are you seeing on that? Is it mainly the right side of the line you're trying to shore up?
You could say that. That's probably a pretty accurate assessment. Eric has looked tremendous. He's done a really nice job of keeping his weight down to where he can move and really be strong. He's done really well there. And then Bube, now I call him Bube, okay? Ibu Bedeke,
Yeah, I can't.
his
do
last
it.
name.
I can't do it yet either,
So
Coach.
Bube is a guy I think you'll like. He's got super long arms. He's got great punch. He is a kid that plays with great natural power. He's done a nice job putting that on full display. So I think we'll continue to rotate him through Wyatt. I don't think we've necessarily got right side, left side. I think our job right now is to find the best culmination of all the pieces and go from there.
How are you attacking backup quarterback? Because it seems like that's up in the air. When we saw 2 years ago how important that is, and didn't have to worry about it last year. And at the same time, you're kind of wondering, do you have the quarterback for 26 on the roster?
Luckily, we're still a program that believes in practice reps. We still believe in hard work and making sure we get enough reps to put them in positions to show that they can or can't do it. Right now, there is no backup. I mean, I'm sure that's the follow-up question. I think they all do a good job in their own right. Cole and Deuce has done a phenomenal job, and then you've got Lenny, who has the most physical prowess probably out of the backups. He's just got to, again, continue to keep putting it all together. But I think the way we go about our practices, and as you sit out there in the sun and see today, we get plenty of reps so that they can show that I deserve to be the starter or I need to move down. Either way, they're going to get an answer.
Coach, this program's in a much different place than it was 5 years ago when you and the staff arrived. What was your perception when you walked in this place 5 years ago?
Truthfully,
Yeah.
we needed to instill some hope. It was a very desperate situation. It was desperate to matter, desperate to, wrap your arms around your players and actually have them lift their head up and look at people in the eye and be proud. No one wore Missouri State football gear. It's like you walked around when you first came in. Everybody had these different shirts on, and where's all of our gear? Where's our pride in the football program? Where's our pride in how you go about your business and being a member of the football program? You walk around campus and you should hold your head high and go, I am a member of Missouri State football. And that was one of the most troubling pieces to me. Just, again, you guys know how I operate and what I believe in as players, and just the ability to understand that you are good enough. That was our biggest hurdle. I don't know if they had been in a real match with a good team in a long, long time. And the ability to come in and these guys trust us and put their whole heart into what they were doing to get to this point is, I would use the word remarkable, considering where we were at.
How is your job as a head coach different at the FBS level now than it was previous level? What has changed?
The FBS word. I mean, I don't think there's a ton of differences. Obviously, you have to, I think the head coaching position in general has evolved, not necessarily high-level FCS to FBS. I just think you have to do a lot of different things, whether it's talking to player agents, whether it's contract negotiations, whether it's those different types of things. I think that's grown tremendously just because you're in the arena for a different type of athlete. So those things come along with it. But on a day-to-day, it's fairly similar. We still, again, we pride ourselves on being ball coaches. Everything else are things that you need to do, and it's important, but we still put our hat on great scheme and great attention to detail, getting our kids in positions to make plays.
Ryan, as you look into this year, how have you scripted your motivational talks? Are you talking about this is your opportunity to make a statement, guys, or do you treat it just like this is another football season, or is there something special about this first season?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. I think a lot of times the media does it for you. Obviously a team that's transitioning, you're not going to be picked very high at polls. People are probably going to be pretty down on the program. We've been a group since we came here. You mentioned earlier about 5 years ago. We've had our chip on our shoulder ever since. That's just who we are as people. I think that bodes well to Missouri State and the kind of blue-collar mentality we bring. And then it does come back to being personal. It comes back to being able to go play in the Coliseum and go 2 weeks in a row. You're going West Coast to East Coast, from USC to Marshall. You're playing big-time football, and you're not on one of those channels that they don't know your name. Sometimes it's not in focus. You're on every TV channel in the pub on a Wednesday night. I mean, you're the ticket. So if you want to put your best foot forward and you are the person you think you are, what better chance to prove it at a historic season in Missouri State?
Coach, your answer to Lindell about 5 years ago was the one thing you needed to give the team was hope, the community hope 5 years ago. What's the one thing that you're looking for now?
Sure. I think the word would be consistency. I think we've shown the ability to win, and it's really hard to be a consistent winner. And I think that's kind of the question you asked is how do you navigate that? How do you go about coming off an 8-4 season? Well, that was last year's team. This is a brand new group of men. We are able to pave our way and do whatever we want to do. I told the guys that, you've seen our line prove it. I think that's really, really important because you want to go match up against USC's best, one of the highest paid rosters in college football, go put it on tape. You deserve to be in the NFL. What a way to do it than on the FBS level.
Jared Lloyd, where is he right now compared to where he was when he looked like one of your better defenders a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I think he's still got work to do. I think that we're doing a good job of progressing him slowly. Jared's a guy that wants to take every single rep and never come off the field. That's just not where we're at with his health right now. And as frustrating as it is for him, I think he understands that we're all on the same team. He's done a nice job of being able to coach the young backers and use his maturity level to help the group grow as a whole. I do think that he will play for us this year as long as everything goes the right way, which will be good for everyone because he is a presence out there. He's a vocal leader. He does things the right way. And he's been with us from the start. He's a guy that's been here for a long time. He knows how we operate, and he knows the standard and expectations.
Jalen Brooks, I know how excited you were when you got him, just seeing his resume and everything. Have seen him on graphics already, whether it's Player of the Week and some of these things that you guys have put out over the last couple of months. Just what is he bringing already to where we've seen how good you guys are at developing the linebacker group?
I was excited when we recruited him. I'm even more excited now. The way he has vision for the ball and his feel for the game is next level. He does a really nice job, and we talked about communication earlier. For a guy that's only been here for a short time, he understands. His football knowledge is great. He's a big, strong, powerful young man. He plays the game the right way. And he's excited about what he does. That's the one thing from the linebacker position that you got to have. A lot of times that's the heart and soul of your defense. You've got to have a guy out there that's a real dude that can, again, make calls as well as make plays because you have to do both. And I think he is going to have a tremendous ball.
Kind of touched on this earlier, but how do you think the Lions will hold up, particularly against the first three opponents?
I think the first three might be a little challenging, Art. We're going to USC, they've been FBS Power 4 national champions for a long time. So I don't know if that's really a true assessment of where our offensive or defensive line will be. I do think you'll get a better sense of it once you get into your later games. I'm confident in our offensive and defensive lines as well as our offensive and defensive line coaches. I think we're going to put ourselves in position to make plays. Unfortunately, we can't go out there and do it for them. So once we get some live reps and kind of see who's really making the plays, I think we'll have a better feel for that here when we're talking in a few weeks.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned instilling hope in this program a few years ago. What about the community? What have you seen? How have you seen this community shape and morph around you guys as this program has brought about that hope?
It's been awesome. Everywhere you go, people are recognizing our players. They're talking about football. There's signage up. There's people wearing the gear. When I go to speak at fundraising events or elementary schools, we want to grow them young. We want this to be the grassroots program of Missouri. That's what we want to be at Missouri State. We want to wear their Bear gear proudly. We want to see them have confidence and pride. And yeah, you could go up the street and watch a game. We're going to watch Missouri State. I don't know what game you're going to. There's games around, but the only one I know about is Missouri State. And I think we're getting there. And again, we talked about consistent winners. There are still some people that, hey, flash in the pan. Oh no, big bad FBS, Conference USA. We'll make sure we reach those people as well, and that's our jobs as players and coaches to ensure that they still understand the product that we're going to put on the field.
Has there been anything you've seen on tape from Conference USA that makes you go, maybe we're a bit over our head?
Not yet.
When you look at when you've been recruiting linebackers, when you've been recruiting safeties, I think that's kind of been where you guys have developed at the highest level. A couple receivers that have gone on to Power 4 programs. How much are you guys finding that benefit when you're having to replace an entire linebacker group and be like, look what we've been able to develop specifically in those areas?
It's huge. Anytime that you can show that you're a program that still believes in coaching and development of players and men, there's value in that. Not only the players themselves, but their families. They want them to go somewhere that they know that they are getting coached hard. You know, a lot of times in the new NIL era, some guys say, oh, you can't coach them like you used to. Well, you can if you run a real program. You know, the guys that you want on your team want to be coached. They want to be developed. They're not scared of their own shadow. And then when they see a coaching staff that gives them honesty, be truthful with them, show them their deficiencies, and then love them even harder when they do well. That's how we run our program, and that's how we'll always do it. And the success, again, I think I mentioned it at Conference USA, you might have been there, Wyatt, when I said, if there's not groups calling your players and wanting your players to come play for them for a large amount of money, something's wrong with your program. You're either not winning or you're not developing talent. So that's just part of it. We take the ebbs and flows of that and coach the guys that are currently on our roster.
Your coaching staff is made up of your family. How important is it that you've had them with you through this whole process?
Yeah, I think continuity as a whole is important. I would argue that we have one of the best offensive play callers in the entire country, let alone D3 to Power 4. Nick does a tremendous job. The offense really responds to him. I know that might sound weird, but when he talks, they listen because he knows we're going to scheme up a run that works or somebody's going to be wide open and Jacob's just got to make the throw. And then defensively, having Coach Scott with me has been tremendous. We've grown up in the profession together, and even when you look around staffs across the country, there's not many staffs that have been able to stay together like we have. And I again, it's not the dollar amount that we're paying them, I promise. It's the belief in what we're doing at Missouri State. It's the belief in our players and the foundation that we built, that they can feel that this can be special. They don't just say these hot words of, you know, out hit, out hustle, prove it, belief, those types of things. A lot of people just don't put much action behind. We firmly trust in those words. We believe in it and know that right here in Springfield, Missouri, where else you want to be?
Prove It's been an addition to your social media profile this year. Where did that come from? What's the meaning behind Prove It?
We hit on it a little bit last year in one of our press conferences, and I'm big on, it has nothing to do with outside noise. And when I say that, it has nothing to do with the media members or even your friends and family members that might not think that you're enough or that you can do this or you're not good enough to make this jump. Prove it to the people that have gotten you to this point. Prove it to the people that have been in your corner since day one and that poured into you and gave you the resources as a young man to grow in your sport. Your coaches, your teammates that were sitting here, we're all moving in the same direction. And I think everyone has something to prove. I think when you lose the concept of improvement and you lose the concept of wanting to grow, you're as good as dead. Complacency will kill a program faster than anything else. And we don't have anything to hang our hat on yet. You know, yeah, we've had a few good years, we've had some playoff runs. Let's go have a special year. And I think the men in this locker room are behind that.
Coach, 4 weeks until your first game. What is your process to ramp up for the scouting report, the actual game plan for USC as opposed to just fundamentals?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So we already have advanced scouting reports on our first 4 opponents. Obviously, those will change as the new film comes out with their current games. So right now, these next 2 weeks are about identifying the who's who on our own team. Hyper-focusing on the position battles, focusing on the different packages, offensive and defensively, that we can get guys that this is their skill set. How, as coaches, do we implement it to do what we need to do schematically? That's where we're at right now, and everything matters. Attention to detail. We talked about it last night. We like to mix in special teams periods throughout practice. That's for a reason. Yesterday, we finished practice with the punt return drill. You know, we got a little loose and we had to have a grown man discussion about what can happen in the fourth quarter if you've got to line up on punt return. You need a big return. Are you going to be lackadaisic, or are you going to be super focused and be able to do your job when you're tired? So again, I'm excited about that part.
We have a couple minutes left with Coach Beard. I want to make sure Art's got any questions. We take care of him, and then anything else anyone else has.
Not good right now.
Good to go. Anyone else?
Is Bo kicking your butt on the video game?
Well, I'm going to let him watch this so he can hear it. I got the first one. All right, so I won the opener. All right, now, you don't need to worry about the record since then. He's drastically improved, and it's been fun. We all kind of gather as a family down in the basement, play the game, and see our players, and it's amazing when you look at young people, because we try to have as many youngsters out here as possible. I want families to come. If you want to watch practice, come watch practice, because it's amazing from that game. People I know from around the community, their kids are like, I was Jacob Clark last night, threw for 250. You know, I had 10 tackles with JJ and an INT. You know what I mean? Not many people, unfortunately, with Cash probably don't play with Cash and D Townley, but you know that's just part of being on the line. But it's been really cool. It's a great opportunity for our players and our program because it's worldwide. You know, now they're trying a video game. You can play it here, you can play it across the world, and still be a firm believer in Missouri State football.
Who's your team when he plays as Missouri State?
We go Missouri State, Missouri State.
Okay. Good answer.
I can't play with anybody
You
else.
can be one.
No shot. No shot. I'm a Bear through and through.